I want to start today with a feeling. It's it's so subtle, and I think it's really common, but it can be so painful when it hits you.
Hmm.
You know that moment. You've done something you feel is genuinely kind. Maybe you spent a whole evening just listening to a friend pour their heart out.
Right, just holding space, not
Yeah.
fixing, just being there.
Exactly. And you walk away from that feeling good, light,
Yes.
purposeful.
That sort of quiet satisfaction, a lovely feeling.
It is. You feel like a good person. But
Yeah.
then the next day comes, and there's no follow-up text, no acknowledgement. They just move on. Maybe they post a fun picture online, and all of a sudden that lightness you felt turns heavy. There's this quiet, almost acidic irritation that just flickers in your chest.
And the thought comes.
Yeah, the thought. You catch yourself thinking, after everything I did for them. What is that sudden sting? Why does something that felt so pure suddenly feel like a bad deal?
That moment you just described so perfectly, that is maybe the most honest mirror we could ever ask for.
A mirror for our motivation.
Exactly. It reveals that what we often label as pure generosity isn't always what it seems. It can sometimes be what we might call a quiet bargain,
A quiet bargain.
or even more pointedly, a silent contract written in invisible ink.
Wow, yeah. A silent contract. I think that probably hits home for a lot of people. You don't realize you've signed anything until the other person breaks the terms.
And you didn't even know there were terms and conditions.
Right.
Precisely. The terms aren't written down, but they're there. They say something like, I give you my time, my energy, and in return, you give me validation. You confirm that I'm good. You make me feel irreplaceable.
So our mission for this deep dive is really to unpack that.
It is. To gently unpack the huge difference between giving from a place of fullness, from a real open-handed surplus, versus giving from a place of hunger, that place where we tie our whole sense of worth to being needed.
Okay, let's get into this hidden economy of kindness, because society, it really rewards that act of self-sacrifice, even if the driver is that hidden hunger.
It absolutely does. The mind is always looking for validation, for belonging. It's just trying to feel safe, really. And so it learns to wear what we could call the mask of kindness.
The mask of kindness.
And it's a very effective mask. It gleams with virtue. The world praises it. But like any mask, its job is to hide something. Not malice, but vulnerability. It hides this deep, aching need to be seen, to be useful, and maybe most of all, to feel irreplaceable.
I see that, the vulnerability part. But I have to ask, does this mean that the basic desire to help is, at its core, selfish? If I genuinely feel for my friend and I want them to feel better, isn't that just a good thing?
That's a crucial question, a really important one. The impulse to reach out is beautiful. It's human. The problem isn't the impulse, it's the clinging to the outcome.
What do you mean by clinging?
Well, there's this ancient, very subtle distinction. It's the difference between true loving kindness and what we could call affectionate attachment. On the surface, they can look identical.
So if they both lead to me helping my friend, how do I tell them apart?
True loving kindness, or metta as it's called, it just wishes well. It offers support and then it lets go. It is completely unattached to the result.
Yeah.
But affectionate attachment is conditional. It's kindness with a string. It gives, but then it watches closely to see if the gift is received. And more telling, it trembles if the help is refused. It's always auditing the situation. Did my action land? Did it get me the validation I was looking for?
That word trembles. That is so evocative. It's that fragile, anxious energy, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you put yourself out there and then you're just waiting to see if it was good enough to get the return you were secretly hoping for.
It is. Think of it like this. There's this beautiful analogy of the cloud offering rain to the earth.
Okay.
A truly generous cloud just rains, it dissolves, it gives itself to the world, and doesn't ask for gratitude from the field. It flows. But if that cloud starts to believe its worth depends on how green the fields get.
Or whether the villagers look up and say thank you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then it's no longer a cloud. It's become a merchant, weighing raindrops on a scale of reciprocity.
The merchant cloud. That's it. That's the internal ledger we keep, isn't it? It's not in dollars and cents, it's in emotional currency. Did they see my sacrifice? Do they still need me? Am I still their go-to person?
Precisely. And the merchant is almost always disappointed in the end. Because when that emotional ledger doesn't balance out, when the return on investment doesn't meet that unspoken expectation, that's when the poison of resentment blooms.
So we think we're building a bridge to someone, but really we're just building a mirror to see our own goodness reflected back.
And that takes us to the core psychological mechanism here. what we can call the virtuous ego.
The virtuous ego. What does that actually look like?
Well, it's a master of disguise. It doesn't wear the horns of selfishness. It wears the halo of compassion, of self-sacrifice. It's the part of us that secures its whole identity through being useful. It's the voice that whispers, without me, they would fall apart.
The one who's always available, who cancels their own plans.
Stays up late, always. It makes sure, consciously or not, that it's the indispensable friend, the indispensable colleague.
That sounds exhausting, but I get how it feels safe. If you're the savior, the fixer, you've basically guaranteed your spot in the ecosystem. You've earned your keep.
It's a very high-effort strategy. And the reason the ego does this, the deeper drive, is that it's trying to fill an inner void, the raw experience of its own openness. You could call it shunyata, this boundless potential. But the ego is terrified of that.
It wants a job description.
It wants a job description. It hates undefined open space. So it frantically fills that space with rigid roles. The savior, the fixer, the wise one.
So how do we even start to recognize when that mask is on? It feels so much like just being a good person.
It does. And the key is not judgment. It's gentle awareness. We have to learn to listen to the body's clues. They're just little signals.
Okay, what are they?
Ask yourself, gently. 1, do I feel a tightness, a tension in my stomach or jaw when my offer of help is politely declined? Does their independence feel like a tiny rejection of me? 2, do I find myself replaying conversations in my head later, auditing my performance, checking if I was enough, if I said the perfect thing?
That's the internal auditor, checking if I was successful in my role, not whether they actually feel better.
Exactly. And 3rd, does my generosity come with a quiet, subtle expectation? An expectation for them to respond a certain way, or maybe for them to stop suffering so that I can feel successful.
That's a tough one to admit to.
It is. But that awareness is freedom. It reminds me of that Zen story about the tireless monk. He served his master for years, cooking, cleaning, everything. Finally, exhausted, he asks, is all this service enlightenment?
And what did the master say?
The master's reply just cuts right to the heart of it all. He said, only if you forget who is serving.
So the release is when that tight little knot of, I'm the one doing good here, just, let's go.
It's freedom from the role. But that freedom is hard to find when we're caught in what we might call the dependency chain.
The dependency chain, meaning our sense of worth is chained to how someone else responds.
Yes. Our entire internal stability is based on something completely external and out of our control. And that, right there, is the very definition of suffering, or dukkha. The mechanism is clinging upadana. We don't just cling to things, we cling to identities. The reliable one, the smart one, the one who always has it together.
And since people and their needs are always changing,
the suffering is inevitable. The moment that external validation goes away, our identity feels like it's collapsing.
You see this so powerfully with the parent who says, I gave up everything for my child.
That's the perfect example. That phrase that so often feels like pure love. But underneath it, there can be this desperate plea, please don't become independent, because if you don't need me anymore, who am I?
And so when the child naturally grows up and becomes independent, it doesn't feel like success. It feels like betrayal.
It can feel like a profound loss of purpose. And it reveals that the care was conditional all along. It was tangled up in a need for self-validation. It's what modern psychology might call codependency.
But the key is not to judge that parent or that overworked colleague.
No, not at all. The insight is to just witness it. To see it as a pattern of the conditioned mind trying to find safety, to shift from the frantic energy of doing kindness to the spacious state of being kindness.
Like the river.
Like the river. The river that thinks its only purpose is to water one specific village. It measures its worth in buckets. When the villagers dig a well and stop coming, the river panics. Am I worthless now? It forgot it. Its true nature is just to flow.
So let's get practical. How do we cultivate that flow? The kind of kindness that, like you said, leaves no residue in the giver's heart, no resentment.
We use mindfulness sati as the light. The very moment we offer help becomes a practice. We can be aware of our intention, of our breath, of that little tightening in the chest. And in that awareness, we stop being the helper. We just see the impulse. There's the desire to be needed. There's the fear of being forgotten.
And when you see it, it doesn't have the same power over you.
It's no longer you. It's just a wave passing through. The practical tool here is a moment of radical self-honesty, a pause.
What do you ask yourself in that pause?
Before you offer help, you take one silent breath and you ask, is this coming from fullness? Or is it coming from a need to fill something inside me?
Well, what if the honest answer is hunger? Because sometimes it will be. Do we not help then?
No, absolutely not. This is the crucial part. You don't judge the answer or pull back your hand. If the answer is hunger, you offer the help, and at the same time, you offer deep compassion to that part of you that's afraid of being unseen.
So you're tending to yourself and the other person simultaneously.
You're recognizing the messenger. The ego isn't an enemy to be defeated. It's a frightened child dressed up as a saint, just trying to earn love. When you can befriend that part of you, the energy bound up in that need starts to transform.
This really changes the idea of compassion, doesn't it? We think of compassion, Karyo, as rushing in to fix things.
True compassion is often a state of being, not doing. It's like the mother holding a crying child. She's not trying to stop the tears. She is simply being with the experience. That is love without a transaction. It just offers space.
And when we stop needing to be needed, when that filter is gone, our help must become so much more effective.
It becomes incredibly precise because you're no longer projecting your own needs onto the situation. You're not asking, how can I fix this so it'll feel useful? You're actually seeing the other person for who they are in that moment. You're helping from overflow, not from lack.
So the deepest act of compassion really is daring to be present with someone without trying to change their experience, while also being present with our own neediness.
Yes, that willingness to sit with the raw truth of your own motivation. That is freedom. It offers no trophy, no story of heroism, just awareness. And that's why this isn't a final destination. It's just a daily, moment-to-moment willingness to meet your own needs with kindness.
Which brings us to a final thought. For when all those roles we play, the fixer, the savior, when they fall away and we find we're not needed for a specific task,
we can ask ourselves, what remains when you are no longer needed? And the answer is an emptiness. It's the vast, quiet space where real connection is finally born. A space where you realize you don't have to earn love to deserve it.